Remember the 5th of November nursery rhyme lyrics, meaning and origin of the quote explained. Remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason and plot, goes the traditional nursery rhyme. But what does it mean and what should we be remembering? Here's our guide. There are many versions of the rhyme that have survived in different parts of England since the 17th century. Most begin with the same or very similar words. This is the basic form. Remember, the 5th of November. Gunpowder, treason and plot. I see no reason why gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. After that there are very different verses that may be included. One goes. Guy Fawkes, 'twas his intent to blow up the king and the parliament. 70 barrels of powder below. Poor old England to overthrow. By God's providence he was catched with a dark lantern and burning match. Holler boys, let the bells ring. Holler boys, God save the king. Another section about burning the Pope is nowadays often left out because of the anti-Catholic sentiment, though versions are still used by some bonfire societies in Lewis. One version uses the words, a rope to hang the Pope. Another goes, a penny loaf to feed the Pope. A farthing a cheese to choke him. A pint of beer to rinse it down. A faggot of sticks to burn him. Burn him in a tub of tar. Burn him like a blazing star. Burn his body from his head. Then we'll say old Pope is dead. Hip hip hurrah. Hip hip hurrah. Hip hip hurrah. The plot was centered around a group of Roman Catholic revolutionaries furious at the persecution of their faith in England. They had hoped for better treatment from the new monarch James I after 45 years of hounding under the reign of Elizabeth I, and decided on drastic measures when things did not improve under his reign. Warwickshire-born Catholic Robert Catesby and his friends planned to kill the king, his ministers and scores of nobles by blowing up the Palace of Westminster during the state opening of Parliament on November 5, 1605. The plotters rented a house nearby and managed to smuggle 36 barrels of gunpowder, around 2.5 tons, into a cellar under the palace ready to blow it sky high. The explosives were discovered with hours to spare after an anonymous tip-off warning one peer to stay away. To this day the cellars under the Houses of Parliament are ceremonially searched before the annual state opening. Kit Harington plays his ancestor Robert Catesby in Gunpowder, a 3-part BBC drama which began on October 21. Far from being the plot's ringleader, Guy Guido Fawkes was merely the trigger man drafted in to set the fuse. Born in York, he converted to Catholicism following the death of his father and left to become mercenary fighting for the Spanish against the Protestant Dutch. Given his expertise in explosives, he was charged with setting and lighting the fuse to the gunpowder. He was caught red-handed by the king's men beneath the palace and was tortured for 2 days at the Tower of London until he gave up his co-conspirators. The traditional death for traitors in 17th century England was to be hanged, drawn and quartered in public. Fawkes would have been forced to watch as his testicles were cut off and his innards ripped out. But as he awaited his punishment on the gallows, Fawkes, 35, leapt from the platform and broke his neck. He was still hanged and the 4 parts of his body sent around the country to warn others. November 5 was later declared a national holiday and people began burning effigies of Fawkes, called guys, and later setting off fireworks representing the gunpowder.